Hello, this is Reginald Andre with the Miami Business Leaders, and welcome to our monthly live episode where we are featuring business leaders in the South Florida market. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have Amerlin Moise of the Motivating Mentor, and he's going to be speaking to us about a lot of different topics. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe our page. The way we get people to view our pages via the Miami Business Leaders Group. And the Miami Business Leaders Group was created last year when there was just, especially with COVID, there was a sense of disconnection with other business leaders in the South Florida market. And it was created as a way for us to connect, as a way for us to promote our businesses to each other, a way for us to also just ask questions. You know, a lot of times us business leaders, us owners, us C-level executives, we just want to know how someone else is doing something. And that's why the Miami Business Leaders Group was created. It's actually been about a year now since we have been having this Facebook group. So on the link, we'll be putting where you can join the Miami Business Leaders in case you're watching this on any other social media platform. Also, we also would like to thank ARC Solvers, which is the sponsor of the Miami Business Leaders Group, where we provide IT support and cybersecurity. So today we have Coach A, also known as Amerlin Moise, and I really have been wanting to bring this young man to do a live with us and to share his knowledge, because I have been so impressed over the last probably 6 months that we've known each other. He actually, through a common client, he then reached out to me. And then after that, when I was speaking to him and asking him what is it that he does, and then I went on his Facebook page and his LinkedIn page. And I mean, he has something called Move Forward Mondays, where it's a quick motivational segment where he just gives you that word that you sometimes just need as a business leader to just kind of get started. Another thing I like is he has something called Test the Waters Tuesday, where it's a challenge. So this is a very, very inspirational young man. And without further ado, Amerlin, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview with us, and welcome to the Miami Business Leaders Live.
No, thank you for having me. And I want to thank you again for having me and for being a facilitator, and also thank the audience and everyone that's currently watching this live. And I want to take the time also to thank ARC Solvers and Miami Business Leaders for giving me the opportunity and for creating this platform for business owners and speakers like myself to share common knowledge that we have along our journey. So I really do appreciate you for making that opportunity available.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So tell us a little about yourself. How did you even get started into your business, and when did you kind of decide that you're going to go ahead and be on your own?
Well, I've always been a coach mentor, but I've done it to peers and other mutual contacts that I've come into contact with. I give them different advice and different strategies, and when they take heed and they actually put in the work, they see the results. And I just have a passion for it. I love helping people. Throughout my career, I've always been in customer service, so that it does something for me in regards to my passion. It fuels my passion when I'm able to assist, when I'm able to go to sleep to a better world than I woke up to me, that's a win for me.
Awesome. So you guys, you see what I'm talking about. You ask him a question and he just gives you that tidbit of inspiration. I don't know if you even know that. Like when you speak, Amerlin, it's just like kind of like I'm listening, because I know you're going to give something that I can take with me. So I really, really am excited about this. So tell us about your business. What year did you get started, and what do you do on your Monday through Friday?
Yeah, Monday through Friday, I am Coach A, Monday through Friday, the motivated mentor. And we've got into business recently, officially in October of last year. That's when I went to the state and did the registration and got the ball rolling with that. And since then, it's been a downhill rolling. Everything has just been clicking. When you find your purpose and you find your passion, and you work towards it, every mountain that we think is about begins to move, or we don't even need to go that route. It just seems that way, but then the trail turned a different way that you won't see unless you're actually walking that trail.
Absolutely, yes, yes. So our typical person that's in our Miami Business Leader group, they have anywhere from 5 to about 75 employees. So that's going to kind of be our target market as far as who we're talking to. And one of the first questions I want to ask you is that, as we mentioned, the topic that we're going to be talking about is being stuck in your business and how to become unstuck. Because even for me, sometimes in my business, where we are at a certain revenue, and when January 1st, 2022 comes in, our revenue technically is zero, right? Because it's a new calendar year. And now the goal is, okay, for example, if I made 1 million last year, I want to do 1.2 million or 1.4 million. But it's always a struggle to now do what you did last year plus more. So give us some wisdom about how business owners, how they can become unstuck when it comes to growing their business.
Well, yeah. Well, first, we need to look at ourselves as the business owner, because the business is a direct reflection of our mental, of our thought processes. So when the business becomes stuck, first let's analyze, where am I personally? Do I have a mental blockage? Is there something that I personally not seeing? Is it due to my lack of education? Because if you have never, or you never been down this road, and you've never had that experience, you won't know what to do, and you'll feel stuck, but you're doing the actual movements that you need to do. But since you don't know, you just feel stuck and you're not trusting the process. So that would be one side of it, the personal side. But then on the business side, it could be a multiple things. We would need to analyze exactly what's going on within the business. Is it customer service that they're lacking? Yes, when companies tend to grow, they focus hard on customer service on launch. Customer service, customer service, customer service, because we know that's what is going to fuel the business and that's what is going to sustain the business. But how much do you really care about the customer service? Has that taken a back burner? Are your employees, since you have that much, do they have that tonality when they're speaking to a customer, that the customer feels welcome, that the customer feel appreciated? Even if they're an irate customer, an upset customer, when they're speaking to one of your representatives, how are they being treated? Do they get the standoff treatment, or is it, these are some areas that we would need to look into. But mainly, we want to look into your advertising. How are you advertising? What are you using in your advertising? Where are you placing your advertising? Because yes, when you grow, there's a recipe. You grow and you got that wealth. You got there from 5 to 75 employees. Awesome. Now what's the plan to continue? Because most business owners, what they do is they plan to get to their point where they are, where they're stuck at, because that's as far as I plan to go. I did my planning. I only planned out to make it to where I'm a mid-level employee. I mean, a mid-level business, but I didn't plan it so I could become six figures. So now we need to come back to the drawing board. Now you have the recipe that got you to where you are. Now you just need to implement the 10X factor. Multiply what you did times 10 to get the results that you're achieving. If you're wanting to continue growth, if you wanted to stay stagnant, then continue doing what you're doing. But
All
if you're
right.
seeking growth,
Wow. All right. So you got two things that you mentioned there, because I know even for my business, one is, the second one is 10x. I want to talk about that. So I just want you to remember that. But the first one that you talked about is that growth, because every business owner, you started most likely by yourself or maybe with a business partner. And it's kind of now, as you're growing, you need to
right?
delegate. You can't do everything yourself. And I know even for my business, sometimes it's kind of like it's hard to let go, because you want to be sure that the client is taken care of. But that's why you hire people, and that's why now you're entrusting your employees to kind of like you're passing the baton on to them. So that it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I know when I was probably in year 3 of my business and I got my first 2 employees, I was kind of just like over them. I was always looking behind them. I was micromanaging them basically, and I had to kind of learn of like, all right, I have to just let go and I have to trust that process. And so I like how you mentioned about trusting the process. So as long as you create a plan so that you can then pass the baton on for your employees, sometimes you just have to just trust that process. And of course, maybe the employee doesn't do the best job at the beginning, or there's something on your manual that you need to add, but you have to be able to let go and trust that process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let me ask you about the 10x now, because I've heard the 10x, but I want you to, for the viewers that haven't heard about the 10x, let's talk about that for a moment.
Okay, yes. The 10x factor. And I was introduced to this by Steve Harvey when he was speaking. I think it was in the Oprah Winfrey Network, or I'm not exactly sure which network that he was involved in, but I caught him and he was speaking about the 10x factor. So the 10x factor, I'm gonna break it down minimum. You get one client. This one client, you figured out how to get this one client. Either it was an ad, either you direct marketing, either you were talking to them. However, you landed this client. Now you landed this client. Find out how you landed this client and do that times 10. Figure out where you can multiply that times 10. Once you could figure that out successfully, times 10, now you have one, now there's 10. Now do what you did for those 10 times 10 again. So now you would go from 10 to 100. Then you do that times 10, then 100 to 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, and so on and so forth. And that's basically meaning plan your work and work your plan. Once you find that model, once you find that lead generation that works for your company, because not every company lead generation is the same. I can post something on social media via Facebook, and you could post something on Facebook, and you could have more of a reaction on Facebook than I do, but we post the same exact post on Instagram, and then I get more reaction versus you. So you would need to find out where your particular client is so you can do the most effective. Once you realize and you see, okay, I got this one client, now let me see if I could do this again times 10. Now, once you get into that ring of times 10, you're always constantly looking into the future. Your business will never stall.
So true. So true, because even with different, like for our business and different platforms, we advertise, we post on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google, different platforms. And different platforms, you have to it's different audiences. When I'm on Facebook, I'm not thinking business necessarily. I'm scrolling to see what my friends are doing. When I'm on LinkedIn, my mindset is on LinkedIn. When I'm on Twitter, I'm just trying to see what's trending. So it's like you just can't just post one thing and expect it just to be able to apply to all the different platforms. And speaking of that, Amerlin, let's talk about the headlines, because we're actually, it's funny because we're talking about business, we're talking about marketing, we're talking about customer service. So this is like all related to being unstuck in your business, because many times your business can be stuck because you, as the leader, your customer service is just going downhill. Your business can be stuck because your marketing is not there anymore. People don't want to do business with you because they don't know you and because they don't like dealing with you. So let's talk about the headlines and how being more specific in the headlines will be leading to better conversions.
Okay, yes. And this method that I'm going to introduce to you was actually taught to me by my coach, Coach Terrell Williams, or Coach T, as I like to call him. And he dropped gems, as you see, as informative as a powerful speaker I am. If you listen to this guy, this is where my inspiration comes, along with my other mentors. But I'm working with him closely because he reminds me of me. But yes, I'm going to give a key to you guys, a key gem. You're going to get lifetime secrets to creating attention-grabbing headlines. Lifetime secrets to creating attention-grabbing headlines. You live when you're creating a newsletter, an email, social media post, whichever campaign that you're running, majority of the times, especially in modern time society, you have 3 to 7 seconds for that customer to look and engage in your post. If your headline is not enticing enough, then the customer would see it, open it, and keep going. You need to create a headline that piques their curiosity. Curiosity is key. How many times have you been strolling or doing whatever you're doing and a headline that just caught, oh, wow, what's that? It piqued your curiosity. That is the effectiveness of and the power of an effective headline. So when you're creating your headlines, there's three different factors you need to think about. Who is your ideal client? What is their wants? What is their worries? Who is your ideal client? What is their wants? What is their worries? These three is what you use to create the effectiveness of a headline, because you want to talk directly to your headline. I mean, to your ideal customer in your headline, because you don't want to be general. You don't want to say anything general. For example, if you're a life coach, you don't want to say, hey, join my services, I'm going to change your life.
Right.
That's too general. When you talk to everyone, you end up talking to no one. So that's why you need to be specific. Talk directly to your target customer. You built their profile. If you have not heard of this concept, before you can even identify who your ideal client is, you need to build a profile of your ideal client. And that means getting their personalities, finding out everything that you can find out about your potential client who's going to be there and support you. Because the more information that you have on your client, the easier it is to locate them. You can drop in some Facebook communities that they're in and you can begin to entice them. But this is where you need to build that profile. So back on topic. Now you know your profile, you know your customer, you have a clear understanding, a crystal clear understanding of who your ideal client is. Now you need to have a crystal clear understanding of what their wants and what their worries are. Because when you're creating those headlines, that's a psychology that you're playing with. You're playing with their emotions. So you want to, hey, I know you want this, but you're worried about this. You come to this, you come get my services, all of that is eradicated. Everyone has a sense of WWIB, WWIG. What is that? When you're speaking to a customer, you're offering your product or your service. The two things that you're going to hear: what will I get? What will I benefit? What will I get from this encounter from you? And after I enroll and go through your product or service, what benefits, what takeaways am I going to have? All of this psychology marketing, because you can address that with the right headline. The right headline would make or break you in regards to your newsletters, your social media posts, gathering attention. If it's not enticing, if it doesn't pique any curiosity, then you're going to be lost. You're not going to find that ideal customer, because that ideal customer is saw your post, didn't understand your post, and like, oh, it wasn't enticed enough, and then kept it going. That is the adverse effect that you will want to have when you're creating that headline.
Mm. Mm.
Now, a lot of times with I get this with speakers, coaches, beginning entrepreneurs, and even mid-level entrepreneurs that just made it over the hurdle where they went from small to now you're mid-size. You have a tremendous product. It's amazing. It works. Your services is amazing, but you can't explain it right. You get in front of your customer, you're talking too long, and you are telling them all of these amazing features. You talk long, you talk wrong. The more short and precise that you are, the better it is. Same goes for headlines. When you're creating your headlines, if you're talking too long, you're talking wrong. It should be short, precise, and pique the curiosity. Not too short to where it's vague, but you want to make it short enough where it will entice someone to learn more, to view the rest of the paragraph if you wrote it, to watch the video, or to go into your landing page, to come into your opt-in page. Everything entices you because of the headlines that you create. Now, do you understand really the needs and the wants of your ideal customer? Yeah, you have a product, but how does that product relate to your customer? Because I can come in and like your product, someone else could come in and like your product. Two different reasons. You can't sell us both on the same reason. You have to find out, identify what it is that I'm looking for, what it is that I want from this product, and what my expectations is, and then you sell that to me. That is why it is imperative that you build your customer profile so you can understand when you're creating at the beginning of the sales market, well, the sales strategy that you're creating, you would have a plan because you know your target audience, you know exactly what would entice them, and you know what would make them move. Now, another thing about being specific in your headlines, when you're talking directly to your target customer and they read it, they start looking at it. Oh man, this is for me. He's talking to me. This is exactly what I need. That can translate into a sale within itself. And you won't even need to be a part of it because how specific you were in your headline. You threw out an ad, let's just say on social media. The ad is enticing, it piques curiosity. Now you got this person's attention. That person clicked and landed on your opt-in page. So now they're opting in. Or they just like your services so much, they go from the opt-in page directly to your product and then they begin to purchase your product, all automated, and you're not even involved in the system in a sense because now it's automated. You set it up, you have the experience, and you have your roadmap from beginning, from ad to purchase point. If you do not know what your customer buying experience is, that is a key red flag. If you do not know what your customer's buying experience is, that's a red flag because in that buying experience, there could be something that is minor that can be corrected but causes the biggest issue. So you would want to see, okay, if a customer comes here, okay, here's my landing page, everything looks good. Analyze it, and you go through the process yourself. And you can also get opinions from third parties. And the more opinions you can get, the more feedback you can get, the better you can make your process.
Mm-hmm.
That's one key. Now, I didn't want to run over that and just not talk about the customer buy because that is very key. That's something that in marketing and strategy and anything that you do, your customer experience, whether it's on the phone, their buying experience, their reading experience, any engagement that a customer has with you and or with your company or with your employee, all of that matters because word to mouth marketing travels faster than any ad that you can put. So the more word of mouth positivity you can get out there, someone will recommend your services and they'll recommend it to everyone that they know. I'm like, I found this product, it's amazing. Oh, you have to try it. You have to try it. I'm telling you, it's worth it. Why? Because you took the time and you identified your ideal client. You identified their wants and their worries. And then in addition to that, you were speaking specifically to them about what their current situation is, about what the current reality is. You're playing on their emotion. Now they may connect with you, even though you may not know this person. This person may feel like you know them personally
Mm-hmm.
because you built that rapport. Now you're on screen, your ads and everything that you do, you're building rapport. Ultimately, when they see the ad, they're judging you on the level of professionalism or the lack thereof. So the more professionalism it looked, the more innovative, the more curiosity you can pique, the better it would be for your brand. Now, it's one thing in addition to this, when you're creating your headlines. I like to do this in my coaching program and also in my other coaching programs. It's called the ABC framework. The ABC framework. And that is A, what do you help them accomplish? B, what do you help them do specifically? And C, what is the goal or benefit that they will receive? A, what do you help them accomplish? B, what do you help them do? C, what goal or benefit will they receive? That will be when you're having a product or service. If you can be as specific, this is called a one sentence pitch. If you ever word a one line pitch, how do you explain your product or services within one line? This is also an effective headline if you know how to strategically add it.
Wow.
So if you ask me, I am a business strategy coach helping people be personally and professionally productive so that they can execute, then hit the highest levels of income, impact, and integrity in their business. That is clear and concise. You know exactly who I'm helping. What do I help you do? What is the end result? That's how clear you need to be in your headlines. When you're creating these headlines, the customer needs to visually understand and see I get from point A to point B to point C. Okay, I get it. I see how it's done. So you want to keep it at the surface, but explain it specifically so they understand. So you entice them and you get them on your corner. I'm like, okay, yes, yes, yes. Now I'm with this.
Wow, man. That is awesome because I think that's when you have a perfect sell, when the customer is not feeling like you're a car salesman and you're like trying to make your numbers for the week or whatever like that, when it's just such a natural flow of when you're hitting the nerve of the pain, you're providing then saying, okay, this is how I'm going to help resolve the pain. And then the best thing is the actual, they can't stop bragging about you, where they want to go into your social media and put reviews and tell their friends about you. So I think that, and it's interesting because that's essentially how a sales cycle should go, right? It should go. I mean, that's why you're here.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's exactly how it should goes, and the better you can get in that process, because ultimately the business owners live and die with sales.
Right.
Because yeah, you can have a tremendous product, you can have phenomenal employees, and if your product isn't selling, ultimately you're going to go down. And even the products that aren't the best, because they're marketed the right way,
Mm-hmm.
you see them supersede other products. It's like, whoa, why are you even surpassing that? It's like this has way more features. Like, what is this?
It's
But
it's
the
it's the
marketing strategy
Yeah, and
is
it's the same thing as like you look at Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, any of these national chain, and I'm getting some echo. I don't know if you hear that feedback. But essentially you have these coffee chains, and they do incredible marketing. But then down the street, you can have a little mom and pop that has 100 times better. Shout out to K Rico in Hollywood, Florida. If you ever been there, right off of the Hollywood Boulevard on the 95, they have the most incredible coffee. And when you compare it to like, why are they not as busy as a McDonald's, as a Starbucks, as a Dunkin'? It's because these other companies do such an incredible job on advertising and advertising to you that their product is better, even though it's not better.
right.
Yeah.
And that's the key. That's the key. Ultimately, you want to go after those big name companies, and you want to find their flaws. What they did was they successfully found the flaws of the other company, and they exploited that, and they made their product, even though it might not be suffice, but they solve these areas of problems. Hey, you're not going to have these problems if you come here. You see what this product is, this and that.
Mhm.
You're not going to have it here. But they're not also going to tell you that they're being outshined in other areas. They're just going to pick at the weak points that they see, and that's strategic marketing. Now I'm playing on your wants and needs because I know what you want, I know what you need. I'm playing on that emotion and getting that sympathy from you.
Yeah. So we're gonna move away from the marketing for a moment because I know we had some other topics that we wanted to talk about, and when we had originally spoken back a couple of weeks ago, we had some questions. I know I'm going to catch you off guard, but I know you're going to be ready for me. And some of the things that myself as a business owner, and I hear from other business owners in the South Florida market, is going back to that stuck, and going back to pushing past their limitation and getting to that next level of success. So I would love for you to talk about, how does, if a business owner is in a rut, be it sales, be it, with their employees, be it maybe they didn't get the contract that they wanted and now they're like, man, I just don't know what I'm going to do next or how I'm going to get that next customer. If they're in that rut, what words of wisdom can you give them to help them?
Yes, I've been there. myself, especially when I'm first starting off and made it, got tremendous sales. It was flowing. All of a sudden, it halted. The sales weren't coming in as it was, and it wasn't necessarily of something that I was doing. But in this generation, especially now with COVID that just happened, there's a whole new way of living that has been done. So how well have you been adjusting to that? Just because it worked for you last year, this is a whole new year. There's a whole new standard of living that we're doing. So what exactly are you doing? What adjustments did you make to go with the times? Because as you see, for example, the speaker culture and that business industry has tremendously evolved. Because from speakers, you were in person. I was doing conferences, going everywhere. Then all of a sudden, you can't go out. What do? That's when you become innovative. You're a business owner. You're a creator. Create your lane. What is that? You test different avenues. You go through different marketing strategies. You go anything that you can do to test, depending on what your product or your service is. Sometimes it may be even simply giving something of that's not really that much of value away to get those customers back in your presence, to get that sale opportunity, because it could simply be life has just thrown them for a loop and they're no longer worrying about the things that they were worrying about last year. How do you keep your company relevant? How do you keep your company in the minds of your customers? The way you do that is to show value and to have value in your product and let that customer connect with that value. Once they see that value in your product or your service, the customer is going to forever remain loyal to you. I have never had anyone go through any of my products or services and left because they got too much value from it, or they saw too much, or they were hitting their goals and they were progressing too much. No one will ever do that. They'll thank you. When you help them progress and get over their situation, that's how you get over your situation. As a business owner, we live to serve. So if there's something that's stalling, find a way to serve within that way. For example, your services isn't working. How can I better serve my community? What can I do for my customers? What can I do to better serve them, to better get them from point A to point B to point C flawlessly, effortlessly, and they're enticed and engaged throughout the whole way. So now we need to revamp everything. Every couple of years, if you pay attention to McDonald's or Burger King, they're always continually running ads. They're continually everywhere you can see them. They're running ads. And this is a nationally known brand. Why do you need to run ads every day on the radio, on the TV, everywhere you look on social media? You'll see a hey burger this, burger that. Why they're doing that? Because they're keeping you they're keeping themselves in front of your eyes. The more you see me, the more you have me, the more I can visibly see you, the more likely it is for me to do business with your company. So how many things have you tried? A lot of business owners, because they had success doing something one way, they tried to do it that very same way 30, 40, 50 times. And then, oh man, I tried everything. But when you really get to talking to them and ask, like, what did you really try? Well, I tried the same ad post and I posted it 30 different places and it's not working. Okay, what's next? Are you going to stop just because that didn't work? There's different power words, and there's an art of conversation that you can have. And the better that you can become a mastery of yourself and discover your power voice, because ultimately every business can be successful and will be successful because it's ran by people. No one person is the same. Everyone has their individualities within their company. And it's that individuality that you have that needs to shine through your products and services that would engage your customers, because that's a person that's on the end of that's on the end of that product. And I can feel it. He really took the time to really explain this to me, or he really took the time to have the visuals where I could understand it without having to ask questions. Or as soon as I look at it, oh yeah, I'm enticed. So what did you do to help you get unstuck? What steps did you take? Are you constantly doing the same thing over and over and over? That's called insanity. The doing the same thing the same way, you'll get the same outcome. What are you doing different to change that outcome? How many people are you talking to change that outcome? See, I like to when I was first getting up, I learned this from my mentor at the time, Les Brown, in the Prodigy program that I was in. TTM, no, TTP and TTMP. Wherever you are, TTM and TTMP. What does this mean? Wherever you get around anybody, we're business owners, we're fixated in our services. If anytime anyone gets in within 3 feet of you, talk to them. That means talk to people and talk to more people. TTP, TTMP. You want to talk to people and open those conversations, because even though you're networking and that person you're necessarily speaking with might not use your services, they may know somebody. Hey, well, I may not need it, but such and such is a great lead for you. You should discuss it because they got this, 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 and this. Now you already have their wants and their worries. Okay, they want this because they're worried about this with their past experience. So now when you speak to that person, you'll know exactly how to speak to them and how to pitch to them and how to have a conversation versus trying to sell them. Because that is one key thing. Even though we're business owners and we became successful, now we have that sense of entitlement, like, that's why people lose their customer service, because you feel like, oh, my product is inferior. It's never going to go anywhere. I don't care how I treat you. 35 years, your business will be down the drain. That's a proven fact.
And let's talk about that TTP and TTMP. Me personally, one of the issues that I still have, even as I do these lives, is nervousness, shyness. I always joke when I went to high school, when I was graduating high school, and back in 2001 at my high school, they had all of these different, best, most likely to succeed, best dressed. But then there was the category that was called the quietest, the shyest. And I was actually the one that was voted the shyest. And then the girl that I liked that I never talked to for 4 years, she was actually voted on the girl side, the also the most quietest. So it's one of those things that business owners and just people in general, not even business owners, have that fear. Even as a grown person, still have that fear that if you're getting your car wash and there's somebody next to you. You're at the grocery store, there's someone next to you. You're at a business networking event and there's someone next to you. You should always be opening your mouth and having a conversation, because you never know who you're going to be next to. You never know what business they're in. And even if they're not in any business, like you said, it's like you're practicing, because you have to get out of your shell and just have hey, the weather's great today, huh? Oh, the Dolphins, Dolphins lost again, man. Heat's going to the playoffs, right? So you always, and even talk about the common denominator, for example. Are you familiar with the common denominator and how you get the conversations to get started?
Yes. To find mutual ground, build a rapport.
Yeah. So I think that's so important, that even if you're not sure of what like, if you're at a networking event and maybe you're at the bar and the other person has a beer, you notice they're ordering a beer. One of the things that you can ask them is, hey, what ale is that? Or what flavor is that? Whatever it is, the most important thing is have the person talk about themselves, right? If you see a ring, oh, I see you have a ring. How long you've been married? You have any kids? Let the person talk about themselves and let them rabble. And then from there, you can tell them about your business or whatever the case is.
It'll become a natural flow, because they'll begin to talk and to tell you, and then they're like, okay, then they'll begin to entice you. Well, hey, yeah, what about you? What do you do? A natural conversation. You don't never want to impose on somebody. That's another key thing. When you're speaking to someone, even if you started the conversation or if they started the conversation, you never want to impose yourself on that person. You gotta think about it. You ever been around somebody who's very religious, and everything you do, you're going to hell, and everything you do is just, oh, no, that's wrong, that's bad. You're not supposed to eat after 6 or whatever ridiculousness that they come up with. But they impose it into you. They impose it and impose it and throw it at you to the point where it's like, I don't even want to hear that. Get out of my face. Versus if you had a simple conversation, be like, hey, yeah, man, having this conversation, I'm going through this, and lightly throw your services in there. And they'll entice, well, what do you mean by that? Can I learn more? Wow, that sounds exciting. These are the key words that you're listening for when you're having that. I like to call it pitch practice.
Mm.
The TTP and the TTMP, to me, that's a pitch practice. I'll go and I'll speak to you and I'll pitch my services. Do you understand what services that I have at the end of it, after I finish speaking? Do you understand what your benefits? Do you understand it? Like, as long as they understand it and they don't have any questions, so I'm like, okay, even if you don't continue with the services, I know that I can explain it effectively. So how effective can you explain your product? That's another key thing.
Hmm. And that goes back to one of your points about the importance of nailing your pitch, because as you continue to practice, even for me, and about 2 years ago, my salesperson, and someone who helped start the business with me, we decided to part ways, and the sales came over to me. So I was still behind the scenes, always hiding from clients and things like that. And one of the things that I learned is, when before I go after that big contract, I practice with the smaller clients. I practice my presentation with my smaller clients, and I heard the objections, and then I responded to the objections, so that by the time I got to that bigger client where I really know, like, I really need them to sign that contract. Maybe with the smaller clients, if they didn't sign it, all right, no problem, move on. But I practiced with those smaller clients. Amazingly, a lot of them said yes. That was actually one interesting part.
Awesome.
And then the second thing was that by the time I got to that bigger client, I had already practiced the objections. I had already practiced the rebuttals, and now the client had the confidence because they saw the confidence in me.
Right. Yes, because the confidence is key in whatever speaking. You have to be confident in your product or your service, because how are you going to sell me something and you yourself aren't confident in it? That means there's something wrong with your product. I can speak without a shadow of a doubt. I know all of my products, all of my services, they all are effective. I can speak confidently because I believe that I know it helps. How confident are you with your services? Yeah, the fear of speaking, that is one, but you being a business owner, you have to get over that hurdle, because you're going to have to talk to your employees, you're going to have to talk to your customers, you're going to have to make these decisions. And if you're outsourcing, it's going to be you that's making those decisions. So get comfortable with speaking. That's something, as a business owner, you're just going to have to do. Go into different speech classes and perfect yourself, because some people don't speak because they feel like what they say, they might sound stupid, or they feel like, oh, if I open up my mouth and say this, I might lose value, when really you are the value. Your brain is the value. You are what connects everything to your business, to your customers. They need you and your power voice to step up and step out and shine bright. That is the only way that you can effectively continue to move over this hurdle. You have to discover your voice, because sometimes selling your products and services, just having your product or services, might not be effective. Sometimes it may take for you to open up that network and to go into different communities, and to be open and to go into guest webinars like I'm doing now, or to have your own webinar, or to give away something so the people can see you and you can explain your product or services, and you educate them. Have your brand out there. The more the people see you, the better credibility that you're going to have. Because it could be you started your market, let's just say in Miami-Dade, and you're now reaching out and you're expanding to somewhere in Orlando. These people don't know you. They don't know your product or services. They're going to look for your credibility. How confident are you speaking? Are you sure that this is what I have? What's the level of professionalism? So all of this ties hand in hand, and they all go with each other with you speaking confident. The more confident you can be in any walk, in anything that you do, the more receptive people would be of you, because you have that confidence. Like, yeah, man, he knows what he's talking about. Let me listen more, because I might learn something. I might hear a key gem, or just simply I want to interact with your business. I want to buy your services just because you entice me to do so.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to my friend Barry Sliper. He's been posting. He put, "You are your own brand. People buy into you."
Yes.
And I would even want to also, and I know we didn't discuss many of these topics we're talking about, but the flow is going so well. Where you also have to also be careful who you refer, because once that customer trusts you, now they're going to come back to you and say, "Hey, by the way, do you know this, or I need this." And I give you a perfect example of something that I do. Um, in my type of business, I deal with businesses with anywhere from 10 to 75 computers. So customers are always coming to me on the technology side. Maybe they need a copier vendor, they may need a shredding company, or they just say, "Hey, we have an access control situation where we need to put locks on our doors. Do you know anybody?" So I'm a referral source to my clients. And I'm always very, very careful about who I refer, if who I refer my clients to, because I don't want that person to then make it a bad reflection on me. So one of the things that I do, and Barry can be a testament to this, is that I do monthly calls with people that I do business with. Like, if I refer you, I'm talking to you once a month, because I need to be sure that you're still in your game, and this is like something very serious. So even Amerlin, with you don't know this, but when
Yeah.
I met you 6 months ago, I'm not going to just put you in front of our, 400 or 500 audience base right away. I'm going to make sure that you are the real person that you are. So I would just, to make it like a full circle, everything from gaining that client to now when the client wants to come back and now say, "Who else do you know?" If I want to know who's in your circle, always be careful on that. So just wanted to kind of mention that real quick as well.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. You don't want to introduce someone without value, because the one thing that I see is common a lot of with entrepreneurs, they have an opportunity, but they aren't a good fit for it, and they don't recommend or help someone else out because they feel like they're going to take away from my limelight, which is
Mhm.
the adverse effect. The more resourceful you see yourself as and you can be, the better it is. So you wouldn't want to put a recommendation on someone that you know their work ethic or their work policy, or they're just basically going to try to get over on the customer and give them little to nothing in return, versus they done dealt with you that had a world class experience. They felt treated. They had the white glove experience. So now they just expecting anything that you refer them to have that same level. So if you're going to refer somebody, make sure it's at equal value or better than what you're offering. So that way the client, especially if they're a returning client, they will see your value, because they'll see you as a resource. And the more resourceful that you are, the more chances are that your returning client is going to come back just for your knowledge.
Exactly. I can give you so many examples of where, and especially in my business, most of my competitors, we're selling the same antivirus. We're providing the same 2-hour service. We're providing the on-site. So you got to have that differentiator. So that way, if you and your competitor have the same amount of employees, have the same fast response time, and you're basically identical, what's going to be the biggest difference why the customer is going to decide to go over you over them is because of you in that relationship.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I have, and I'm not, I'm saying this in a good way, but we have clients that that are paying more because of the relationships that they have with our team and they have with our company. Like, they know that the other competitor is 20% cheaper, but they're okay with that because they value that relationship. And so it's very, very good to say that, hey, look, yeah, we're not the cheapest in town, but we're going to give you this quality, and most importantly, this relationship that you have. Anytime you have an issue that you need escalated, you can call me on my cell. My customers have my cell. They can team me, and that's the differentiator between our services and other companies.
Transparency is key. That's another thing, because in this day and age, everything going online, there's a lot of scammers going on, so people are very suspicious. So the more transparent that you can be, the more upfront that you can be. I'm like, hey man, I offer this services. I know that I can help you, but I know I'm not the most affordable. So if you're looking for affordable and you're looking for pricing, then I might not be your best option. But
Hmm.
if you're looking for quality and information and value and progress, then this is what you should judge it on, not the monetary value. But if that's what's more important to you, then you can possibly go ahead and shop somewhere else, but you're not going to get that same value that you would get as if you were here with me. You're just selling yourself. Your company is selling yourself, and that level of customer service. You would need to identify who you're speaking with, because there are multiple different types of personality types that are out there in the world. Within the first minute to 3 minutes, you have to identify, while building rapport, what type of personality do you have on the line? Is this a person that wants information, or is this a person that just want the Cliff Note version? Is this a person that's going to be a professional time waster, that's going to get on the phone with you and waste an hour to 2 hours of your life and not commit? You need to understand who's there on the line, because some people are just going to come just to test those services and to push a button and hang up.
Hmm.
Some other people would do this very same exact thing, but based off of the word choice that you chose, now you convert them into a sale, and then you upsold them, and now they remain because you effectively handle that customer service. So if you're
Mhm.
getting stuck, how are you dealing with your irate customers? With those elite and those sense of entitled customers, because you'll have those customers that are your founder, that's been there from the beginning, from the day you launched. And as you continue to grow, they're going to have that sense of entitlement. Like, I've been here since the beginning. I've been supporting you since the beginning. I feel like you need to give me this. You should give me this. Oh, well, I get it. But at the same time, there's a way to effectively, professionally get that under control. You always want to remain in control. How do you remain in control? Confidence. Going
Hmm.
back to that word, confidence is key, because when you're confident in what you're saying, that translates over to the customer, because the customer, whether if it's in person or over the phone, or you're doing a Zoom or webinar, however you're doing your services, they can hear the confidence. Confidence sells.
Absolutely. I give you an example we had where we provided us we're providing cybersecurity services to a client, and there was a new management, and they wanted us to still pay the same rate, but they wanted to scale back on the actual cybersecurity services. They wanted us kind of to loosen up things a little, to give them a little more freedom. And it wasn't anything where it was going to be impactful in their business. They just didn't like the control that we had in some aspects of the computer. And he was really trying to get us to switch to, like, hey, just lower, turn this feature off, turn this feature off. But at the end, I stood my ground and I says, no, this is what the contract is for. This is what you want. And I actually told the client, look, if you want to get out, it's okay. I'll let you out of the contract. No termination fees. We'll shake hands. But and I was so confident that he was like thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to go ahead and just take this contract and kind of wave it over his head like a carrot stick, thinking that I was going to chase the money. And I end up not trying to chase the money, and just with my confidence, I was able to tell him, no, this is what we said we are going to do. And in order to protect you, we have to do this. So it's so important to have that confidence. And another thing I'm going to just throw at you, coach, as we have a few more minutes, is how is it okay to fire clients? Like, talk about that for a moment.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But it all depends on the reasoning why the termination is occurring. Are they do they have malice intentions? Are they going out everywhere and going to the Better Business Bureau speaking negatively on you? Does every time they have an engagement with you or with your employees, is it negative? Does it always lead to an escalation every single time for every single call? Are they buying your services and then calling their bank and then reporting the claim and getting those fees back, where now you have to fight and dispute and go back and forth with the bank to prove that it's a legitimate charge. So honestly, there could be a multiple boatload of reasons why, yes, it is necessary. Like, at this point, I think we should terminate. We should terminate our relationship. I wish you all the best, but because of this current relationship, because of the nature of the relationship, I just choose to professionally cut it right here and have a nice life. I don't wish you anything bad, but my services aren't a good fit for you. My culture isn't a good fit for you because you don't have that same culture that we have. So it's always going to bump heads because you're not in that culture. We have a culture of love and you have a culture of hate speech. That would
Hmm.
never mix. That's
Yeah.
just an example, but yes, there are times when you can terminate.
Yeah, again, I say this appreciatively of all our clients and things like that. But like you said, sometimes over the course of time, or even from the beginning, like for us, we interview our clients. That's how, like, if before you become a client with Arc Solvers, we want to see what is your personality, what is the CEO's personality, like, do you respect the services that we're going to offer? How do you treat your employees? What type of work environment is it? So we want to ask those same questions because here at Arc Solvers, we have our values, our culture values, and we want to be sure that our values align with yours because at the beginning, if it's not a good fit, then we're just going to be, going on a spiral there. And we've had instances where we had the owners, they're always yelling at their employees, and then something's not working, and then now they're calling us and yelling at my staff, and I have to protect, my staff is my babies, I have to
Right.
protect them
Yeah.
because I've worked so hard to come up with a good team. So yeah, so I think it's important that when you're at the beginning, you try to take everybody, and I get it, but as your business matures and it grows, you have to now mold your business to make sure that the clients that you have fit the trajectory of where you're going to be wanting to go.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But me personally, with knowing that information firsthand, if you aren't a good fit for my services, even at the beginning, which was why it was one of the stalls, because you'll have a lot of people that aren't a good fit for your program, but what are ready to pay right now, and but you
Hmm.
feel it like, yeah, you're not gonna be here long. I value helping people over receiving money. As long as I can help you, I know I can effectively help you, and we're not going to bump heads. Our culture is the same. Even though we might not think the same, because that's perfect. Everybody has their own perspective. I could see something that you can't, and vice versa. So that's always great. But money shouldn't be the key motivation to why you want to help this person. Ultimately, you want to help this person because you genuinely, hey, I have this service, I have this product, it can help you. It does this, it has this feature, it has this feature. I know you will want something like this, and you need something like this, but you're worried about this. Remember, the wants and no worries are always key. That's going to come up in every conversation that you have. WWIB, WWIG. That will always get asked. What will I benefit? What will I get?
Hmm.
You address that by talking about the wants and the worries, tying back to the headlines. The more specific that you can make it, and the more enticing that you can make it, everything ties into one. Your ads ties into your customer service. Your customer service is going to tie into your business and your business integrity brand. The level of professionalism that you have, or the lack thereof, is going to be a direct reflection of your company. How many times have we went somewhere and sat down to get something to eat, and the prices are affordable, but the service was just horrible, where you leave and go somewhere else, get the same exact meal, pay maybe 10 to 15% difference at a higher rate, but the level of professionalism, you don't mind. Like, oh man, I get treated with dignity here. I get treated with respect. They actually care about their customers. So
Hmm.
that's something also when dealing with customers that you want to keep in mind as well. People will pay more for better service. Tying back with what you said.
Yeah. Exactly, man. Wow, this has been an hour of, man, like you could literally take clips here and like use it for your advertising in the future because there are so many positive words and bombs that you just laid. Just drop the mic, drop the mic, drop the mic. So I really want to appreciate you, Amerlin. And here on the screen there, you see Barry. He says consistency and confidence with your clients. Not every deal is the right deal. So, I mean, there's just so much tidbits that you, and I knew this was going to happen. You know, this was supposed to be a 30 to 45 minute session, and we're already in an hour.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah. So, Amerlin, I'm going to put on the chat of how people can reach you, and also, so just give a 1-2 minute commercial as far as your business and what you do and how you help people.
Okay, yes. Well, I believe in a power of three. So if you know, then you know. But I offer three different coaching programs because I'm speaking and helping three different levels of entrepreneurs. And so in program number one, the extreme execution program or the entrepreneur execution coaching program. This is product number one. If you become in that membership, it has an introduction to entrepreneurship where it's basically your entrepreneur starter kit. You'll learn everything that you need to know from launching your business, legitimizing your business, obtaining your EIN, setting up your business telephone number, setting up your email, setting up your website, again, getting you introduced to the digital marketing world and everything that you would need to know, the A to Z of business when you're first starting off. The second level, which is the conversation that we've been having now, is for my Entrepreneur Extreme Execution Coaching Program. Now, this is for existing business owners like your platforms that have been stalling and can't figure out what it is that they're stalling at. We come and I do an analysis of their current business. I see where their weak points are and where their strong suits are, and we create an action plan to move forward. And I also discuss different points such as the headlines and the reintroduction to digital marketing, because there's something in there that if you're not effectively landing clients, there's something in there that's not being done correctly. And then the final program, which is the Motivating Minds Mentorship Program. And that's for specifically coaches and speakers that want to develop their power voice, that's want to be more confidently in speaking, and that's developing a coaching or speaking program from scratch, or even if they're mid-sized. We replace their current existing structure and business model by giving them a blueprint and a structure and with a roadmap where they can track their progress. So these three services are currently available now. And I'm offering, just because I'm here, I'm giving your listeners and your audience a key here. I will be giving away a free mini master course. A free mini master course. The only thing you would need to do is either go on my social media, Instagram or Facebook, the Motivated Mentor, and provide me with a direct message and say, yes, I am in. I would need your name, email address, and telephone number. And I will send you the free mini course. This is to, if you're stuck right now and you want to get over that hurdle and you just need some other pointers, a different perspective, this mini course is for you. It's created absolutely free, no charge. It's for you, and this would help you. If you like the conversation that we have today, then it gets more in depth in that mini course.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amerlin. And for those that may be driving, we do hear from some people that says, hey, I listened to you on YouTube as I'm driving. Just so you guys know, Amerlin Moise, his phone number is 305-515-5802. And his website is www.themotivatingmentor.com. So thank you, Amerlin, so much. This was great. Any last words before we disconnect?
Well, I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity, Miami business leaders, art solvers, and yourself, Reginald Andre, for giving me the opportunity. And everyone out there, thank you for coming out and listening. And if there's anything that I can help you out with, if you see that you need to get over this hurdle or you want to begin to create your business, I'm a business strategy coach. I can help level you up.
Level up. I like that. And thank you all for listening. This has been, we have so many comments, so many views. Thank you so much as on behalf of the Miami Business Leaders Group. If you did not hear from the introduction, the Miami Business Leaders Group is a private Facebook group created for business leaders such as yourself, where we inspire, we highlight different members of our groups. And also for you yourself, if you would like to be interviewed and to talk and to let us know about your business. Same thing with Amerlin. Let's build a relationship. Send us a private message. Let's get to know each other. And once we can say, okay, we're ready to do that, we'll put you on the calendar. We would love to be able to talk to you. And you're gonna have some big shoes to fill because Amerlin just dropped Mike. So I feel sorry for who's coming after you.
Oh man, well I know they'll be great. If you're passionate about it, speak confidently. And if you need some help, I'm here to help you.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And we will see you next month when we have our next video live.
Awesome. Until next month, I'll be excited to join the live and to watch that interview. Thank you again for the opportunity. It's been a pleasing pleasure.
All right. Bye-bye.